and to the first of our summer lay-led services. My name is Liz Lintz, and I'm serving as your worship associate today. Each summer, our minister has time away for rest and renewal, and members of this community come forward to lead worship, bringing their own intelligence, passion, talent, and care to our shared spiritual life. These summer services have their own choir rhythms and rituals. They are a little more intimate, a little more conversational, and a beautiful reminder that we minister to one another in many ways. Today, as we gather for our annual poetry service, we make room for the words, music, silence, and shared listening that awaken us to the truth of our lives and of the world around us. Our centering thought this morning reminds us that poetry is one way the private world becomes public. In a time when language is so often used to distract, divide, distort, or conceal, poetry calls us back to a different kind of speech that seeks truth, awakens attention, and helps us feel our shared humanity. As always, today we come together not because we all think alike, but because we believe there is wisdom to be found in listening deeply, questioning openly, and learning from one another. We gather in the spirit of open inquiry and radical inclusion. We welcome all people regardless of age, ability, religious, socioeconomic or cultural background, race, immigration status, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Whether you're with us in person or joining via live stream, we greet you with open hearts and gratitude for the gifts you bring. Before we begin, we have one announcement. We are delighted to announce that Marianne Blasi, who was with us as our interim minister from 2018 through 2020, will serve as a part-time summer minister again this year from July 1 through August 31. She will provide pastoral care in collaboration with the Pastoral Care Associates. Those of us who know Marianne have experienced the gift of her warm and caring presence, and we are fortunate she is with us to support the congregation while Reverend Seth is away for the summer. Marianne is here today and will lead us when we share joys and sorrows. Please be sure to see her after the service to catch up or to meet her if you are newer to our congregation. Lastly, if you or someone in the congregation needs pastoral care in July or August, please contact the office, and the office will coordinate the Pastoral Care Associates in Marianne. I now invite those of us who are gathered in the sanctuary to greet our live stream participants by turning and waving at the camera in the front right side of the sanctuary. And now let's take a moment to greet one another.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. The first order of business is to roll up our sleeves and get to work. All right. I changed the poem that we are going to open our service with. The one in the order of service, the Adrienne Rich poem, is a terrific poem, but I thought there was another poem that I thought might be better, and that is a poem by Archibald MacLeish, a wonderful poet. I don't know how much people know of him today, but it's called Ars Poetica. So it's a poem about what is a poem. A poem should be palpable and mute as a globed fruit, dumb as old medallions to the thumb, silent as a sleeve-worn stone of casement ledges where the moss has grown. A poem should be wordless as a flight of birds, A poem should be motionless in time as the moon climbs, leaving as the moon releases, twig by twig, the night entangled trees. Leaving as the moon behind the winter leaves, memory by memory the mind. A poem should be motionless in time as the moon climbs. A poem should be equal to not true. For all the history of grief, an empty doorway and a maple leaf. For love, the leaning grasses and the two lights above the sea. A poem should not mean, but be.
I now invite Alice Levering to come forward to light our chalice while I read these chalice lighting words adapted from Spirits Rebellious by Khalil Gibran. True light is that which radiates from within a person. Truth is like the stars, which cannot be seen except beyond the darkness of night. Truth is like all beautiful things in existence. It does not reveal its beauties save to those who have felt the weight of falsehood. Truth is a hidden feeling which teaches us to rejoice in our days and to wish all humankind that rejoicing. And now, please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, number 309 in the Gray hymnal, Earth is Our Homeland.
Thank you. Now's the time for Young and Young at Heart to come on up. Good morning, good morning. Come on up. So, for today, our family was thinking a lot about what do we like about poems and how do we make kind of personal decisions about whether we like a poem or not. We heard Martin start off this morning by reading a poem about what poems can be and what poems should be. We are thinking a lot about not asking, is a poem good, right? Sometimes people read poetry and they say, is that a good poem or not? How do you even make that decision, right? And so our family was thinking a lot about how do we each ask the question of whether we like the poem or not. Yeah, did you want to share something?
Yes. Here's another reason of how you can find if a poem is good or not.
Yeah.
Listen to the Story Card podcast and join the Creator Club because there's one called Bad Poem.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you were listening to that. You know, and this is a question people have asked since the beginning of people writing songs and writing poems, right? Is it a good poem? How do we know if it's a good poem? So our family was asking for ourselves, you know, we were talking, how do we sometimes make that decision? And we realized there were 3 things that we listen for ourselves, right? And we don't all have to agree on these, right? But the 3 things we thought is, first, how does it sound? What is the sound of the poem? Kind of, does it rhyme? Is there a rhythm to it? Are there fun words that are kind of cool to say and they kind of feel good in your mouth? So sound is one. The next was imagery, or also kind of imagination. What kind of pictures does it make you form in your head, right? What are the images that the poem has? And the last is feeling. How does the poem make you feel? Happy, sad, silly, thoughtful? So what we thought we would do is we're going to read 3 poems. We each picked a short poem, and we're going to read them out loud. And at the end, we're going to ask you as a congregation, as a group, to kind of raise your hands and just show us on your fingers, you know, kind of 1, 2, 3, which poem you liked the most, which one spoke to you the most. It could be because of the sound, or the imagery, or the feeling, or all 3. Right? Okay, so we're going to let Victoria start, and then we'll go to Emily, and then I'll finish up. Here we go.
So my poem is by Emily Dickinson, who is a female poet who grew up here in Massachusetts and lived all her life here. And she's known as being a very imaginative and kind of provocative poet for her time because she was writing in a way that other people weren't writing. It's called I'm Nobody! Who are you? So here's it goes. I'm nobody! Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell. They'll advertise, you know. How dreary to be somebody. How public, like a frog, to tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog.
And I don't know if you know this, but oftentimes when people read poems out loud, you don't clap afterwards, you snap, right? So that's how you kind of show, like, nice poem. Let's show on your hands, and everyone can play along. On a 1, 2, or 3, how much did this poem kind of connect for you?
So 1 being your favorite, you're super connected. 3, you're like, not my flavor.
Okay, so 1 is your favorite, 2 is in the middle, 3 is maybe not my flavor. I love it. I love that I'm seeing 1, 2s, and 3s all around, right? Because it's how it connects for you. All right, here is our second poem. This is by Emily.
My poem is by Shel Silverstein, who is a children's book author, and that we were gonna bring in his actual book that we have, but couldn't find it. This poem's called Smart. My dad gave me a $1 bill, 'cause I'm his smartest son. And I swapped it for 2 shiny quarters, 'cause 2 is more than 1. And then I took the quarters and traded them to Lou for 3 dimes. I guess he didn't know that 3 is more than 2. Just then came along old blind Bates, and just 'cause he can't see, He gave me 4 nickels for my 3 dimes, and 4 is more than 3. And I took the nickels to Herb Coombs down at the seed feed store, and the fool gave me 5 pennies for them, and 5 is more than 4. And I went and I showed my dad, and he got red in the cheeks and closed his eyes and shook his head, too proud of me to speak.
All right, what do we think for you personally? 1, 2, or 3? Ooh, I see a lot of ones on that one. Nice. All right, the final poem is by Jack Prelutsky, another famous American children's poet, and this is called Be Glad Your Nose is on Your Face. Be glad your nose is on your face, not pasted on some other place. For if it were where it is not, you might dislike your nose a lot. Imagine if your precious nose were sandwiched in between your toes. That clearly would not be a treat, for you'd be forced to smell your feet. Your nose would be a source of dread were it attached atop your head. It soon would drive you to despair, forever tickled by your hair. Within your ear, your nose would be an absolute catastrophe, for when you were obliged to sneeze, your brain would rattle from the breeze. Your nose instead, through thick and thin, remains between your eyes and chin. Not pasted on some other place, be glad your nose is on your face. All right, what do you think? 1, 2, or 3 for you for that one? All right, interesting. So thanks so much for listening, and across the morning and across maybe the week or the next month, as you hear poems, as you encounter them, think about sound and imagery and feeling and how you are responding, each one. And now we'll sing the group to religious education, I think. No, we're not doing that.
Children will stay and continue to listen to poems and judge them for themselves.
Fantastic.
They're gonna go outside to the playground, so we are gonna
Oh,
We are going to sing because you're going to the playground.
we are going to sing. All right.
Wow, it's so wonderful to see old familiar faces and new faces. So I'm so honored to be here this summer with all of you for pastoral care needs. And please say hello, especially if you haven't met me yet in the afterwards in the reception. So this is our time in the service where we come and share. This is a unique time during summer services where we share our joys and sorrows that we're carrying, spoken out loud to share with each other here in the congregation. So if you would like to come forward and share what is what a joy or sorrow that you're carrying, please come forward, introduce yourself, and share what is on your mind or heart, and then light a candle. And if you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand, and we will bring around the candle to you. And following the candles, just a reminder that this is being live streamed, so what you're sharing will be seen on the internet, just to let you know that. And after we do share our candles of joy and sorrow, we will have a moment of silence, followed by our centering hymn, number 329, which is in your gray hymnal. So this time is yours.
Thank you, Marianne, and welcome for the summer. It's great having you back. I'm Sheila Puffer. Yesterday, I went on a hike led by former WCG alum Miles Howard to find the Lost Highway. And it's down in Milton and Neponset, and that highway was stopped by action of a lot of activists back in the early 1970s. If it weren't for those activists, there would be a huge highway going through the middle of Boston, and taking out a lot of people's homes. So we've made activism can really pay off. That's a joy.
My name is Victoria Ippolito, and I would like to share a joy that today is Father's Day. In the last 11 years, we have not celebrated Father's Day for JC because it falls the day before we do our summer camp, for which he is the man behind the scenes, the Dobby to our Hogwarts. He makes everything happen invisibly so that I get to be out in front singing the songs with the kids. So this is a joy and a celebration of all fathers in the room, even though my own has passed away. This is for the one I'm married to.
My name is Alice Levering, and I am excited for going to Japan this summer, but I'm not excited for plane ride because it's 14 hours, and I do not want to be in a plane for 14 hours.
Okay.
I just wanted to share with everyone that this Wednesday is Nancy and my 47th wedding anniversary. How she has put up with me, I don't know. But here's to 47 more.
So, Liz, if you would like to light a candle, one more for those joys and sorrows that remain in our heart and unspoken.
we now come to the part of the service where we will have poems read to us by members of our congregation. I have to say that we had a lot of entries that came in a timely manner, and so we have 8 selected lined up for this morning, which means we don't know whether we'll have time for any additional poems. I've been approached by various people, Rosa and Sub-Rosa, asking me, can we sneak this poem in? Can I read this poem? We'd love to do everybody's poem, but we may not have time, so please understand if we stick to this list and don't do any others. But if we do have time, we will certainly open the mic to those who have indicated that they do have a poem to read. They just didn't get it in on time for our selection. Now, for this particular part of the service, those who want to read a poem are invited to come up to the lectern, or if you'd prefer, you can use the handheld mic. So it's up to you which you would like to do. And the first person is Lee Barton.
Historians like to label eras, the Jackson era and so forth. I gather that historians looking at our era, the time that we're stuck in, are thinking of calling it the age of Trump. For purely unrelated reasons, I thought I'd read a poem by Shelley called Ozymandias. Ozymandias is the Greek name for the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II. He lived from 1303 BCE to 1213 BCE, so he's dead. One detail about the poem, it is a sonnet, but there are 3 speakers, 3 voices heard in the poem. There's the poet, there's a traveler who's been to Egypt and tells the poet what he's seen, and a third voice. I will try and keep these voices distinct. Ozymandias. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
And next we have a poetical offering from Alice Levering. And Alice is going to read an original poem entitled Where I'm From. It is based on writing prompts from George Ella Lyon, author of the original poem by the same name.
I am from feeling makeup brushes on my face, from my hair filled with gel, and doing my skincare routine. I'm from beautiful blue house on Kensington Road. I am from the tree that was chopped down in my backyard and the grass that was always needs to be cut, whose long gone limbs I remember as if they were my own. I'm from Thanksgiving with family and getting complimented because of our blue eyes. From my Aunt Kim and my Grandma Graham. I'm from getting lost in stories and from Pokemon Go. I'm from being called Sunny and Dumpling and singing the album Epic. I'm from Oktoberfest in my backyard in the hospital and sushi. Sushi and pizza from a video of me and my dad in the hallway.
Thank you so much. And next we have Jean McClurkin and Olson.
Okay, this poem is called Forward, Now, Backward by Unknown. We found it on Pinterest, and it's been a thing that really speaks to our family and kind of how we try to view the world. So I'm going to do the forward, he's going to do the backward. Today was the worst day ever. And don't try to convince me that there's something good in every day. Because when you take a closer look, this world is a pretty evil place. Even if some goodness does shine through once in a while, satisfaction and happiness don't last. And it's not true that it's all in the mind and heart, because true happiness can be obtained only if one's surroundings are good. It's not true that good exists. I'm sure you can agree that the reality creates my attitude. It's all beyond my control. And you'll never in a million years hear me say that today was a good day.
Today was a good day. Today was a good day. And you'll never in a million years hear me say that it's all beyond my control. My attitude creates the reality. I'm sure that you can agree that it's not true that good exists only when surroundings are good. True happiness can be obtained because it's all in the mind and heart. It's not true that satisfaction and happiness don't last. Some goodness does shine through once in a while, even if this world is a pretty evil place. Because when you take a closer look, there's something good in every day. And don't try to convince me that today was the worst day ever.
Thank you. Now we can go outside.
No, thank you. Okay, David Humman is next.
Good morning. I realized this morning what a wonderful, good week I've had, because the hardest decision I had to make all week was which poem to read to you. I love so many poems, and I write poems. I just decided to read you one. I've written a very Unitarian poem, I believe. On halos. Sometimes I think it would be good to have a halo, like at night when you're fumbling with your keys on a dark porch, or when you're reading in bed and your wife wants to go to sleep, especially if you had a dimmer switch, or maybe walking by a road at night so cars could see you, like taillights. Not always, of course, coming into a theater late or sitting in orchestra seats at the symphony. Pity the poor person behind you. Sir, would you please take off your halo? But they never were that practical, I suppose, nor meant to be, simply signing the sacred. In any case, they vanished along with angels, Eden, creation, and apples, washed away for good by reason's rain. The only time I ever see one clearly is at night around car headlights, and that's cataracts, though sometimes I think I do catch glimpses, fragments, the oh-so-soft blonde hair on my grandbaby's head, the yellow luster on that worker's safety helmet laboring in the rain, my friend's bowed head curved by Parkinson's, as he shares a poem. Even maybe if you saw me from the back, sitting on a bench by a lake, there in the moment, taking in the sparkles on the water, and it shimmered around my head. That, though I never see or know. Thank you.
Next, Jack McCreeless.
I'd like to read a poem by Billy Collins. Many of you know him. He was former poet laureate of the U.S. And this poem begins with an epigraph, which reads, "It has been calculated that each copy of the Gutenberg Bible required the skins of 300 sheep." Flock by Billy Collins. I can see them squeezed into the holding pen behind the stone building where the printing press is housed. All of them squirming around to find a little room and looking so much alike it would be nearly impossible to count them. And there is no telling which of them will carry the news that the Lord is a shepherd, one of the few things they already know.
And now Marianne, our summer minister.
So this poem is called Camas Lilies by Lynn Ungar. It is inspired by a Bible passage in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verses 28 to 29. Consider the lilies of the field, the blue banks of Camas opening into the acres of sky along the road. Would the longing to lie down and be washed by that beauty abate if you knew their usefulness? How the natives ground their bulbs for flour. How the settlers' hogs uprooted them, grunting in gleeful oblivion as the flowers fell. And what of you? What of you, of your useful life? Imagine setting it all down. Papers, plans, appointments, everything. Leaving only a note. Gone to the fields to be lovely. Be back when I'm through blooming. Even now, unneeded and uneaten, the camas lilies gaze out above the grass from their tender blue eyes. Even in sleep, your life will shine. Make no mistake. Of course, your work will always matter. Yet Solomon, in all his glory, was not arrayed like one of these.
And Emily, you're up.
Let me pull it up. It's on my notes app. Oh, good. My poem is one that I wrote quite recently on a school bus to a boring location because I write most of my poetry on dumb field trips. It's called Heavy is the Head. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, for a king has to carry all the weight of all they've had to do. Hurt is the hand that bears the sword, for why would someone need to protect if they hadn't hurt you? Burdened is the brain that holds the knowledge, for it can be dangerous to know too much of what you keep inside. Sacred is the face that dons the mask, for however the situation grows, they will choose to hide. Lonely are the eyes that see the difference, for nothing will be the same when you notice more. Left out are the feet that walk away, for if others are together, they will be gone, having already gone before. Broken is the back that carries the world, for to carry it all, you mustn't on your own. And chosen are the ones who do it together, for they will never be alone. That's my poem.
I hate to say it, Emily, but I hope you go on many more dumb field trips. The last poem we have on the roster is from our member, Stephen Parapelic, who is no longer with us. He moved to New York, but he did send a poem in because he watches our services. He feels very warmly towards all of us. And so he sent this in. It is a poem entitled Ordinary Evening, beginning with a line by Tony Hoagland, and the poem is by James Cruz. We would give anything for what we have, though it's easy to forget while swimming in our own good luck, like that cartoon duck I once loved to watch backstroking through his vault filled with treasure and coins. Someday I know I'll stand at the counter of the pawn shop of loss, bargaining for just one more ordinary evening of walking with my husband, and after work, our boots scuffing the gravel roads, softening into spring, and a flock of red-winged blackbirds trilling to each other in the upper reaches of a tree we pass beneath, barely noticing those golden notes pouring down all around us. Now, I think we have time for one more. So John Grebe was early on in the line of people coming after the deadline. So John, do you have your poem with you?
It's an honor. I was sure I was way at the late end of that sub rosa request. So thank you. I am not extremely attracted to the genre of poems we might call absurd, but I liked this one. So it's called War Machines Dress Up as Drag Queens by Mohammed El Kurd. I think that's like Mohammed and El Kurd meaning the Kurd, the Kurdish person from Kurdistan. I haven't confirmed that, but it's, so to me it evoked something like another savior from a place that is not exactly a country or a homeland, because Kurdish people also do not have their own homeland. Time magazine in 2021 named Mohammed El Kurd, along with his twin sister, one of the 100 most influential people in the world. I think they're both in their late 20s now. And the twins founded a grassroots campaign to protect families facing imminent or forced eviction from their homes. He was awarded the Cultural Freedom Fellowship from the Lannan Foundation. And he's also a journalist and poet, and he's a civic media fellow at a famous journalism school, the Annenberg Innovation Lab at University of South California. Anyway, war machines dress up as drag queens. There are many roots. War machines are coin-operated arcade games, and your penny sprays and juvenile plays are just as greedy as a bulldozer's mouth, chewing life into debris for me to dishwash and make poetry of. War machines wear lipstick, carry bedazzled purses, and wave, "Hello, how are you?" Vogue on said debris, pink faucets. If you ignore the rubble, this is a haven. Its earth is flesh, brown and uncounted. War machines are American-made, and they are never thirsty. Rivers in their throats. American water is brown and dirtied, and children famished, cracked, caged in cages, in uneducated education, surf their boats in drought, their knuckles stiff. Cold is this verse. I sit here wondering, which me will survive bulldozers undoing God? Which me will soak their hands in these wells? Which me will console the dead's loved ones with prevention, not mourning? Bottle our Jordan River to smack American thirst for greed and grief. Water, stolen or neglected. Which me will survive all these liberations? Don't ask me to explain. I can't.
Thank you, John, and I'm sorry to say that's all the time we have. So we had a couple of other people come up with really wonderful poems, but unfortunately we don't have time to do that. So thank you all who did read, and thank you all who maybe, and I appreciate anybody who maybe spent some time looking at poetry this week to try to find a poem, because it's always great to take some time away from the daily grind to just look at some poetry and try to understand it. Anyway, thank you all very, very much.
Our weekly offering is an opportunity to respond to the abundance we've received, a moment when we transform our gratitude into action and make our values visible. Information about how to give is in your order of service and will appear on screen for those attending via live stream. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received. to do so are invited to join me in saying our shared affirmation. We gather not for ourselves alone, but to use our common power to build the beloved community within and beyond these walls. We create and reaffirm this covenant this day to make justice flourish, to practice compassion amidst difference, and to embody transformative love. Please now rise in body or spirit to join in singing hymn number 12 in the gray hymnal, O Life That Maketh All Things New.
Please be seated. Many heartfelt thanks from all of us to those present and absent who shared with us today some of their favorite poems. We treasured your offerings, and we really appreciate your willing to come up here and read a poem that means something to you. In a time when truth is often bent, buried, or betrayed, and truly, when has it ever been any different? May poetry keep us awake and inspire us to be honest and compassionate in our words and courageous in our actions. Before we go, we have one last poetic and musical offering. I will read In Cabined Ships at Sea by Walt Whitman, and then John will play At Sea by Ernest Bloch, which was inspired by this poem. In cabined ships at sea. In cabined ships at sea, the boundless blue on every side expanding, with whistling winds and music of the waves, the large, imperious waves, in such or some lone bark, buoyed on the dense marine, where, joyous, full of faith, spreading white sails, she cleaves the ether, mid the sparkle and the foam of day, under many a star at night. By sailors young and old, haply will I, a reminiscence of the land, be read in full rapport at last.
Please read with me the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry on our hearts until we are together again. The service has ended, but our life of service continues. Please join us for refreshments in the Sims room behind you. And also there will be a brief meeting for service leaders in the parlor in about 10 minutes. Thank you.